Yeah, so I'm from Evonik, basically, and as you see here, I'm in a kind of department in a business of Evonik. It's animal nutrition, and there, if you want, responsible that we make use of this and turn this potentials now with AI into business success. Just briefly, I don't go into details, but Evonik, about 15 billion specialty chemicals, 15 billion turnover globally, 30,000 people, roughly 10,000 products, 100 locations, so really global. And especially our business, animal nutrition business, is really global because people eat everywhere, so to say, and we're very often also the first ones in new countries where you won't find chemical industries maybe, but people eat everywhere, I would say. Yeah, that's what we are in. So we have two segments, but yeah. Not too much to explain here in the detail. The end markets you see here just briefly where we are, and that is rather diversified in Evonik, all different kinds of industries, and we are now talking about here these animal nutrition part basically, and our products. Oh, this seems doesn't work. Our products basically are essential amino acids, specialty feed additives, and also, for example, omega-3 acids. Which we are producing for agriculture, so we could make the salmon to a vegetarian, for example, with these products. And our business, we are traditionally a chemical company, so what we have, our slogan is here, sciencing the global food challenge. So we try to solve challenges of the global, to supply foods to everybody, basically also with science and our products. And because here, we don't go in detail here in this, but you know, this is our big challenges, is that we have growing populations, and let's say providing protein to everybody, that is a big challenge everywhere, yeah. And also, not everybody is going to be vegetarian, basically, and that's also why we have to make sure that producing animal protein is as sustainable as possible. And that's what our, let's say, solutions come in, basically, that we make feed additives for feed to animals, for farms, basically, as good as possible, that they to get the best output, basically, from the feed they use. The challenges of our industries or customers, basically, meet all these different requirements of different species and different age phases of animals, basically. That is where our, let's say, animal nutrition part really scientifically comes in, but also for sure a lot of volatility, raw material prices change, and then also the formulations of feed will change, basically. A lot is completely high regulated markets. You know, feed is similar to food markets, basically. Big challenge is also antibiotics. Everybody knows this discussion about it, resistance everywhere. So you have to get rid of it, and we provide things to don't have to use them, basically healthy animals. And also supply chain issues is also a big part. I mean, everybody's reading the newspapers, so they're providing these things. Put here the data below, because all these things, we have a lot of data inflows from the outside we are using, and we are also storing and processing, and that's also why basically we are a bit different than other businesses, because there are so many data also from customers coming in. We have basically two business lines here: essential nutrition, the amino acids, big bulk production, global food scale, specialty nutrition, probiotics, specialty additives, and we have a software as a service business, so to say, as well, which is very uncommon in Evonik and in the specialty chemicals industries, that we also what we call an analytical service for our customers, where we handle more than 50 million analytical results. Basically, our customers measure their grain or raw materials, and we exactly give them the interpretation of the measurements, and we tell them how much amino acids they have to add for a perfect feed. I'm telling you all this because this has made us very special also in the context, basically. Because on the one hand, we are global. We are also basically everywhere. We are a big company with central IT, for example, basically central services for different things. We have a data science group also centrally, where you can do projects on and to improve certain things or to work on models. But we also have, within our business, basically, we have different departments who have their own dedicated data scientists and data engineers as well. So we have production technology people, which we call smart operations. They're working on and all these improvements within the plant and the production. We have these software as a service for our amino services, we call them, where these people work on chemometrics, so to say, and providing all these services that people can get these results directly. And we have now for 2 years in our business department also data science people and data engineer to work on the business excellence, basically, and that's also where basically I'm located. For sure on top we have then also, being a large company, we also have cross-company networks where the different experts can exchange with each other. But our starting position was here, we have different data knowledge, let's say, in different parts of our existing business line. And it all starts from strategy somehow. That was already here with us. For example, in 2020, we had first bigger, let's say, vision, so to say. So there it was the target picture 2030 was developed, which you can imagine it was different than it would look like today, basically, because it was before all these GPTs. But at least there was a lot of talking about autonomous plants and automation. So a lot of visions rather similar, I guess. Yeah? And then we had this kind of strategy. Basically, we have this goal, also what we've heard here this morning already, transform towards a data-driven company. Yeah, then whatever this means at that point, I would say. But at least it's strategically, let's say, anchored, so to say. Yeah. We had a let's say, project, so to say, to develop the infrastructure needed for that, which was, for example, a data hub for our business line. We put in place, basically, on the cloud, data catalog we started working on to give transparency. What data do we have in our business? Who owns them? And who's responsible to make it visible, basically, and to enable then structures that it's easier to combine them. We built a center of competence for data science and also Power BI data, so vision, look into these data we have, and we also make sure that we can have a kind of DevOps, so we can not only bring new dashboards or new things, release them, but also manage them and operate them. And that is not then in the central IT, somebody far away where you have to get a ticket and never get personal, but somebody you can touch and you can directly call, basically. Yeah, that is, I think, rather important. So we have a pipeline built up with use cases, many use cases of ideas of different data products, applications, from a simple dashboard to larger models, so to say. And starting from enabling topics like these infrastructure stuff, but also towards very often is a kind of, when you talk to the different people in different functions, is kind of painkiller applications. So there's something which is a lot of effort or whatever, or which is not stable, where we then think, okay, can we help them somehow? But not with a company-wide project. I mean, we often end up maybe in the large systems with those things. Then it's more difficult, but often we try to do it pragmatically in our, there's an influence zone, so to say. Then we had as well a kind of, we noticed, like we also discussed this morning, data quality is a big issue in different systems. Everybody you talk to somehow has examples to complain about certain things. So we did a kind of digital maturity assessment as well. And on that, we built a kind of roadmap. Basically, what do we want to do for the next years, basically, in the different fields here, what we called organization processes, people competencies, and infrastructure and technology. And I think all these has to come together to somehow successfully transform a business organization. And then basically 22, you all remember, then we were already starting on the way, GPT and these things came in. And that was also quite interesting that with Evonik, in October, I think 22, it was released. In January, we had already the first usage rules somehow, because people noticed that people were trying it. And also, in the beginning, when it was Wild West, we were fearing that people use the web thing with business knowledge as well. And so we started to already work on that. We had the first Evonik GPT, which we called, we've seen our company-wide in a closed tenant on the cloud, which nothing leaks out, so that we started that already I think in March or April. And then from November on, we had this, what was called Bing Chat. Today, I think it's called Copilot Chat as well. So that you could search the internet smartly with GenAI. The Evonik GPT looks the interface is there. But then the interesting bit started from February 24, basically, that we said, okay, this general thing is maybe useful. Everybody might have had this aha moment, but the real value comes when you put it more close to the documents and information people need, so to say. Yeah? So we had to make it more accessible, but still having these kind of things with authorization rights and make sure that people only see what they are supposed to see and can work on. And that was then what we called, we built our own platform, which we call GPT at AN, so to say, AN is Animal Nutrition. So we built our own, let's say, pre-configured RAG platform, and that's basically why I'm here today a bit to talk about. And by now we have 39 plugins, basically use cases running on this platform in our business line, and it's we add on, I would say every week one where we can provide GPT on top of your documents or your departments or your whatever is your functional thing, basically to work on. That's basically the idea we set up. We had some trainings here as well, material, yeah, and this is here basically how it looks. We have the interface, and we have now basically a selection that you have certain things like you see here, IT and procurement. Basically, they have all the documents in this GPT, so you can find out easily how do I solve an IT problem, how do I procure anything. But now you have also personal ones where you have access rights to, and basically you can choose them, and you can also choose several ones to check for your requests and your chats. And this looks basically like a RAG for any technical. There are many here. I don't go into the details, but in principle, you have a document database, basically with your truths, with your documents. You index it, you build a graph. Has the graph database in there, and then the language model looks into it. And what we did now, and that was a smart idea, I can also only recommend to not each time to have an IT project for each RAG we want to set up. We build a kind of empty, let's say, empty one. So the IT built us 50 SharePoint folders, basically numbered 1 to 50, and with all the rights we can administer ourselves. With basically the access rights we can administer ourselves, and we can basically give it to people on a very low level, and easily within a day they can start working on it to test if it's useful for them. And if they find out it's not useful, we can also use that for other colleagues, so to say. And that is basically the good idea a colleague of our Smart Ops department had. So make it really flexible and close to the people, and not having an IT project each time, because if 1 or 2 colleagues on a, let's say, patent department have an idea, for them to set up an IT thing there is, in a big company, rather complicated. Yeah, so this is basically behind. And so what's the experiences basically we are having yet with these 39 ones running, so to say. One thing is it's easy to set up because we have it pre-configured as if you want dummy, so to say, yeah? So by the IT. And then the activation, normally if you talk to a colleague and they have heard about it, and okay, what documents do you have? And then, let's say within 1 day, it's running, so to say, for them. And that is for any IT project rather unusual normally, yeah? And then they can start testing it. Then this is this kind of copy-paste architecture, and it's for sure growing. And we first started with 25, I think, which filled easily, and now we have about this kind of 50. And then for the next round, we will then enlarge it. For sure, each time more costs in the cloud, whatever you have, because you have more data there. But it's in principle, we monitor the cost of it, but that's at the moment to what we see, what the value is, and what the feedback is. I won't see this as a big issue, at least not the ones which is caused by these. By the setup. Yeah, user groups, as I said, from 1 to 2 to several hundreds. They all have today SharePoints already, in our, let's say, world. And now they can basically have a smart GPT on top of their existing SharePoints, which they work on. We have the same authorization concept, which is rather important in a large company, which is used already for the existing SharePoints, and also self-managed, as I said. And that's basically important. The other thing is, and for each plugin we call them, so each of these GPTs we have a kind of, let's say, a governance concept. So each has to have an owner, basically, which is not from these people administering it, but is somebody of owning the data. Normally the ones who also own the other SharePoint, basically, which was already there. we make them, we have a small, let's say, we make them aware what is basically about it. Yeah, for sure we have a data classification in the company is important. We are not allowed to upload strictly confidential data to cloud, and for sure then also not to our GPTs. We have these kind of access rights, and we have a AI governance on top of each use case in principle, and that is Evonik has a central IT people or governance people who you can consult there, basically. Yeah, so that's at least easy from a business point of view that we don't have to build own competences there, except teaching the people about it. Yeah, then we have a small ticket with a Power App. We build our small ticket system. Basically, when people have issues with it, whatever, and it comes also to our people first and copy to people in IT, but it's still something that's just very easy and quickly to do with them. Yeah, so different use cases. The easiest one is always search. So plant documentations in a chemical plant, you have tens of thousands of documents. Quickly find the right one. If you look for something, that is really the biggest first use case. Publications, we have patents, competitive market information, training material, regulatory Q&A material, whatever. So I think each group knows what they work on, and that's very easy now to make this smartly usable, so to say. First usage is always find it quickly, what you need, and the second is then to build all these capabilities of GPT maybe on top to combine things to make your presentation bullet points or whatever. We track the usage, the value contribution we also want to track in the future, which we are asked by the management. I must admit it's still difficult somehow. We cannot say we've sold so much more or whatever. And basically, this is now the starting point. You can also say, well, it's simple chatbots, but we're looking now is to increase the automation and also look on agents, basically, because we found out that a lot of things people use a chatbot for is always the same prompt for different kind of information and documents which goes through over time. And now we are thinking about, okay, then people don't want to copy paste the prompt each time basically on a different information source. This you can automate in the future. And that's what we are at the moment working on to then get the kind of the output only basically. Yeah, this is basically what I just wanted to present. Yeah, as I said, it should be strategically anchored. I think you need top management attention and also let's say the resources to start doing it. I think it's embedded with us also with the whole business transformation projects we have also. Yeah, many you probably know, chemical industry is doing different times at the moment, so there's a lot going on. We have these, we bring these LLMs close to the people who have the problems. That's this, and that's what we see as success factors: dedicated functions, organization, proximity to the people, basically, that you have contacts. Yeah, that you have the pioneers you can support with sensing, and that you can also allow them to quickly find out if it's useful for them. So this kind of sandboxing, or what we call dummies here, make it quick and easy and cheap basically to start with it. And that's, I mean, I won't say that we are so successful. There's still a lot of things to do, but I think that was at least we are there with this approach. We are thinking ahead also within our company at least, and things, and we see that a lot of people are really thankful for that we are quickly then allowing them to increase their efficiency and whatever, and allow all these things. Yeah, that was my thanks a lot, and happy to discuss you on our table.